What does it mean to take care of ourselves physically? We've all had people to tell us that they wish they had taken better care of themselves. And so, what does that mean when you say, I wish I had taken better care of myself? I think most people focus on physicality and taking care of their body so that as they age, they are physically able to do the things that they want to do. I want to be able to do a lot of things as I age. And so taking care of myself physically is really important. So let's talk a little bit about that today. I'm Leslie Tadlock, and this is A Tad More Living. This channel is here to allow those of us over 60 primarily to focus on aging in a more youthful, active, healthy way so that we can enjoy what years we have left. And part of that is taking care of ourselves physically. There's really three components, I think, to taking care of yourself so that you have um, all the things you need to live a full and active and exciting life as you age. And obviously, one of them is taking care of yourself physically, which we want to talk about today. And another one is taking care of yourself mentally. What can we do to make sure we're mentally as healthy as we can be as we age? And then the third component that I can think of is also financially. um, we got to be able to afford what we want to do. And that looks like a different thing to everybody. I think, there's different ways to look at it. And for some, it means having a whole lot more resources and money than it would be for others, because it depends on what you want to do and what that type of experience costs. But there's also another category that I want to explore in another video, and that is just lining things up. Um, you need to take care of your lifestyle. There it is. There's the word. You want to take care of your lifestyle and set things up as you move forward in your life so that things play out in ways to support where you want to be. Does that make sense? I'll do a little research and try to organize my thoughts better and put together a full video on that subject. But let's get back to the physical part of it, because we all know that no matter how much money you have and what your life looks like in every other way, if you are not healthy, if you are sick or impaired in some physical way, it doesn't matter. It takes precedence over everything else. And unfortunately, we are climbing an uphill battle because you can decide to get physically fit or better, in better shape physically in almost any generation before you get into your 50s and 60s and beyond. And you just go through the steps to do so, and you're not climbing the uphill battle that age stacks on top of everything else. I'm not a professional in this in any way, not a doctor, physical therapist, not coach, trainer, any of that. But I don't think anybody would argue with me that we lose muscle density and bone density as we age. So, we not only want to keep ourselves where the body functions in a way that we can do the things we want to do, but it takes a little more work to achieve that because we're also fighting against muscle loss and bone density loss along the way. Many professionals say that we need to increase our protein intake, for instance, to help stave off the muscle loss. But diet is not exactly what I want to talk about today. That's actually another part of taking care of yourself physically that I'd like to explore, completely separate than this video. I really just want to explore a little bit on taking care of yourself physically from the point of view of, I guess, exercise. Is an all-encompassing word. You could call it different things, and yours could look different than what somebody else's looks like. and they could call theirs exercise, and you could call yours exercise, and that looks like a very different thing. But the focus is on whatever you need to do for your body as part of your day in, day out lifestyle to maintain or increase your physical fitness. And there's two things that I can think of out of everything that pertains to us. There's two things we cannot pay somebody else to deal with. No matter how much money you have and what your world looks like as far as resources and availability to anything, you cannot pay somebody else to eat or not eat for you. You can pay somebody to buy the groceries, plan the menu, and cook the meal, but you cannot pay them. There's not enough money in the world that can switch it from you making the decision of what you put in your body or don't to somebody else. We are responsible for that all by ourselves. And so, and the other thing is exercise. No matter how much money we have, you could be Warren Buffett, and he cannot pay somebody to be physically fit for him. He has to do the work himself. Whatever the work is, he can't pay somebody else to do it. You following me? We're 100% responsible for what we do as far as our diet and exercise day in, day out. All of us seem to be wired a little bit the same as far as our motivation. We're going to ramp up starting Monday. I'm going to get my 10,000 steps in every day. Or starting Monday, I'm going to eliminate, that was the right word, sodium from my diet. Whatever it is that we feel like we need to do as humans, most of us are easily motivated to start fresh. But the problem with that is that doesn't get the job done. What gets the job done is what we do every day and the decisions that we make every day. And yes, if you need to eliminate, I'm just picking on sodium for a moment, but if you need to eliminate that from your diet, yes, you can have a bag of chips every once in a while and not completely derail yourself. But it's what you do 95% of the time. So you've got to, I've got to, we've all got to create lifestyles. If we're going to take better care of ourselves physically, we have to create a lifestyle that includes the movement and the diet. But talking about movement, there's really 3 different types of exercise. There's the aerobic type of exercise where you are doing some sort of movement that increases the heart rate and the lung capacity, your breathing rate, to the point where it's burning more calories, it's strengthening the heart muscle, strengthening the lung capacity. That's aerobics. We all know what the word aerobics means, but the reason it's called aerobics is because we have 2 different breathing states, breathing and heart rate states. There's the anaerobic, which is where you are that's where I am now, just standing, sitting, not doing anything to exert myself. I'm in my anaerobic state. Aerobics is when you switch to an activity that elevates that. And so that could be cycling, swimming, tennis, power walking, running, just climbing a really tall flight of stairs. And that looks different for different people because we're in different levels of aerobic fitness. All of us are. Some are different just naturally, or we're just made up differently, and then some comes from what we've developed or haven't as far as aerobics. And most people consider aerobics being what really is burning the calories. So if your focus is on losing weight, doing more aerobics for longer periods of time. And there's also studies. I'm not, and like I said, I'm not a professional at this, but there are studies that show that you can even gain basically the same benefits by doing smaller um, time periods of aerobics several times a day. In other words, if you were going to ride a bike for 30 minutes at a high rate enough to be an aerobic activity, you could do it twice in the same day for 15 minutes and gain the same benefits. I don't know if that's true, but that's studies to show that. So that's helpful for some people, I would imagine, because either your schedule doesn't allow for 30 minutes or you just don't have it in you to do something for 30 minutes that you could go divide up into two 15-minute workouts and get the same benefits from, and that works better for you in all the ways. So, but that's the aerobic portion of physical fitness. Another very important, and this is also being studied, of course, and being found to be almost as important, especially as we age, are the strength training, or is the strength training world of physical fitness. And that can be either with weightlifting or with body resistance. So if you do push-ups, that's body weight resistance. But obviously, if you pick up weights and do something with those, that is weight training. But to to maintain and even develop bone density, for whatever reason, strength training is where it's at. And as we get older, we lose bone density, some more than others. And so that can be a very beneficial portion of physical activity to add to your exercise program. It's also something that you don't need to sweat to do. So I find that strength training is something I can slide in. I keep dumbbells in my home office and a band, and several times a day sometimes, but at least once a day, almost every day, I work in some strength training that only takes probably a minute, doesn't require me to change clothes, to get dirty, to get sweaty. I can just do it and then put it down and come back later and do some more. If that appeals to you and you think, well, gosh, I could work in some strength training, consider that, because if you wait until you can go to your home gym or go to an actual fitness center to do weight training, and it doesn't happen as often as you would think it should, then it might be something you can incorporate just in your daily routine. So, and you've got to be careful. You've got to use the right techniques. And if it's something that you're unfamiliar with, if it's a whole new world for you, I'm sure somebody on YouTube would tell you all the things to do and not to do. So I haven't looked, but there's probably videos on, I'm a brand new to dumbbells. Show me what to do as a beginner. However you want to search that. But that is the two main components to physical fitness, is the aerobic portion and the strength training portion. And then there's my least favorite. There's the flexibility portion. I hate it. I've always hated it. I am not naturally flexible, bendy. I don't have, I just don't have it. And I grew up, my entire life before I became an adult was spent in a dance studio. I was there many hours of the day, several days a week, some every day of the week, and then progressed into high school into dance team while still ramping up the other dancing. I actually thought for a long time I wanted to open my own dance studio when I grew up. Um, if you run a dance studio, you're working nights every night, and that wasn't a lifestyle that I realized I wanted to have and getting married and raising children. I didn't want to work every night. So that ended up being a direction that I thought I wanted to go in, but didn't. But the only reason I'm telling you this is because it was hardcore. I was there all the time, working out, dancing all the time, which requires flexibility. And it was always a struggle. I just hated it. It just doesn't come naturally. And I would be right next to someone that had beautiful turnouts and beautiful arch in her feet, um, and just didn't have to work so hard at all the things to being flexible. And that was doing it all the time. So as you can imagine, for somebody that doesn't do it all the time, doing it every once in a while is near impossible. And I am the one in the class that will just skip the stretching when we get finished part. I'm coming clean. I hate stretching. I hate the flexibility part. I um, I need to work on it. But the reason I'm telling you this is because I know it's important. And studies have also shown that people that as they age, if they stay in programs like yoga and Pilates, things that require some flexibility as part of the class, you can't do yoga without it working on your flexibility. It's not like going to a physical fitness class where you do this and this and this and this, and then at the end you're going to do some stretching. Yoga, it's built in. So studies have shown that as we age, those of us that are participating in classes like yoga do better physically. So I'm just saying it's important, and I'll admit I don't do a great job at it at all, but it's there. It's the third component of physical fitness. And if we're going to be ready for adventures, be ready for going to see some beautiful church on top of some beautiful hill in some other country as part of our retirement travel, we've got to be able to do it. And being able to do it means taking care of ourselves now. It means taking care of ourselves prior to now. And it means being ready for then. So that's my TED Talk today on physical fitness. Like I said, there's more than one component to taking care of ourselves for what comes next. And that's physical, mental, financial, and lifestyle. So I will come back with some focus on those others. If you don't mind hitting the subscribe button, giving me a thumbs up, and please leave a comment. I would love to know if you think I'm crazy, if you have discovered some great way to incorporate exercise into your lifestyle that maybe you didn't have in the past, and this is something you want others to know about, or just any thoughts on that, or if you have any ideas for the videos I haven't made yet concerning the mental, the financial, and lifestyle parts of being prepared and taking care of ourselves, let me know that as well. Thanks again for being here. Have a great day.